Hi, I'm Kevin Tharp, and you are putting up with Doc T. I have not recorded any of these videos for a long time because, well, that's what this story is about. Not so much why, but what's happened. So I'm a professor at a small university, and over the years, I've been teaching courses about analytics, search engine optimization, web development, all those kind of classes. And so to stay current over that time, one of the things that I did is I created various brands, but I worked on this one called PuttinUp With Doc T. And what that was is really just to try and keep me current with what's going on. So if you're publishing, throwing stuff out on social media, even if you're not hitting big time, and you can tell by these numbers, I was never much, but I had developed a brand with some longevity. And then during the 2020, uh, you know, kind of quit publishing like everything else, things went wacky. And uh, around October of 2020, I decided that I needed to change my service provider. So this is on a WordPress site, and I was trying to change it to a secure site because that's what you need to do now. So when this stuff is all established, the HTTPS wasn't that important. You could get by with HTTP most of the time. But now with the changes and algorithms and all of that, if you're not an HTTPS, your chances of showing up in search results is pretty low. And the browsers now give a warning if you're going to a site that all of that. So I needed to switch it to HTTPS, and the service provider that I was using wanted to charge me $100 a year for that certificate. But it's a free certificate out on the internet. You just have to go through the steps to have it set up, but they wanted to charge me $100 a year for having that certificate. And I get it; they got to make money somewhere. But the $100 when you're only getting that many, that was more than it was worth to me. So I decided it was time to change providers. GoDaddy had been a good provider for me for years, but that tactic really turned me off. And so I went to find another one. I ended up on a different provider. Bluehost is who I'm currently using. And I've got multiple WordPress sites. And what I'm doing is I'm in the process of migrating them. So I lost my patience with GoDaddy and turned off my site on them somewhere around October 4th, 2020. And I didn't really see, so all my traffic, I didn't have consistent or great traffic, but I had traffic. And so all that stopped because the website went off, and then I started to bring it back in about March. And I'm going off the Google Analytics for the site that shows the traffic. And so that's my only source for these data. But I relaunched it kind of just a quiet launch. I moved my domain, and then things didn't work out exactly the way I went. Got busy, summer came, went camping, didn't do anything. And then so all of a sudden, at the end of the summer, I came and started turning my domain on and some of those things that I needed to do. And I'm still in that process. That's what this story is about, is the relaunch. And what you're looking at here is PuttinUp With Doc T, which has been basically silent since October of 2020. So for a year, a little over a year. And what I did is I exported the content in WordPress from the old site at GoDaddy into XML documents, and then I uploaded it. But, and this is where the story starts going, um, I was changing providers, I was changing domains, and I didn't get it all set up right at the beginning. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going through and I'm going to clean this up, get a new launch, maybe start publishing again, although I can't ever promise that. And just kind of use this as a case study in trying to just showing you what happened in here. So I've got all this experience and I still screwed things up. and that happens. So we're going to just go through what happened, and a couple of my students are going to use this as a case study. And so that's what we're looking at. So I'm looking at the dates here of January 1, 2017 to October 27th, 2021. And that today is the 28th of October, 2021. So what we're looking at is I've got a couple properties, and I already tested this because the same problem happened on some of my other properties that I moved as well. And so I tried it on a smaller one, and this site is working fine. But when you go to the PuttinUp With Doc T, and this is the one that was the most active of my the place I was publishing the most. When you come in here, you see broken images. You see some articles, and if you scroll down, there's a lot of articles. But if you try to go to those articles, there's an error. So along the way, and I figured out what happened, and I was able to test this. So we're going to walk through it on this bigger site. We know that the content is there. It's able to find it. But when you go to the navigation, so let's making basic bread from scratch. That was one of these. There it is right there, making basic bread from scratch. If I go to any of the links to it, you'll notice we're at PuttinUpWithKevinWTharp.com. If you click that making basic bread from scratch, you get the not found. And this is the piece of evidence that gives it away, what's going on. So when I clicked that link, even though it was to an article on the same site, what it was doing is it was sending it to this box 5108.temp domains. And so that had to be investigated. And that's what we found out is that when I go into my WordPress, so I'm actually logged into the PuttinUp With Doc T WordPress site, and I go to settings and general. This, when I moved over the domain, I changed this, but this URL was the temporary while I was between the time where I created the account and when I got my domain assigned to it. So that period in the spring and summer where I was messing around with stuff, but not really doing a good job of it, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's where the problem's at. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this and kind of just put it all on record so that we can show how we're changing this, how we're doing this, and maybe any other mistakes we make along the way. So I need to get rid of that. And if you look at here and you come down to this lower corner here and read the domain, that's that box 5108. Any of these articles, even though it's pulling the content of these articles out of the database. So that's where this gets weird, is there's just a setting that's wrong, and we're just going to have to figure out how to completely correct this. Now, what I did the last time when I was doing the musings, there weren't that many articles, so I just went through and I deleted all those posts. But when I come into PuttinUp with Kevin W. Tharp, or into the WordPress for this, what you'll see is there's a lot of articles here, not a ton, but there's a lot of articles here. And so I want to see if I can fix that just by changing that setting. Now you'll notice that the dates on all of these are in early 2020. So that was when I was importing them, or 2021. Anyway, skip that. The last time that I published before I migrated was in 2020. So I had been in hiatus for a while, even before I changed that. So what we want to do is I'm going to see if the first and easiest choice is the one that's going to fix this. I'm not sure that it will, because of the way that things were imported. That's what we're checking. So I'm going to change this to the same thing that is here. So I'm going to actually change it back to the domain instead of the temporary domain. And then we are going to save those changes and see what it does to the site. Okay. So theoretically, if we come back up here and we reload, so it's going to have to reload into the memory to do this. Let's check and see if that makes any difference. Now you'll notice down below, okay, when I go back down to the lower left-hand corner, when I'm over something, it's now putting up with. So just that setting changed it. So we had already crawled this site previously to get data about what's going on. What we're going to do now is we're going to rerun our crawls and look at the SEO and see what we can fix. But I still see that, for instance, these pictures are incorrect. That may, we'll have to dig into this as we go to try and see what we have to do to get all those pictures fixed. And we'll do that in another episode. This is enough for tonight because we reached our first goal, which was to fix the URLs. Okay, you're putting up with Doc T, and we're putting up our old site new again. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.